Yeah, we're going.
You've dug your own grave, human attorney.
Very well. Let the defendant take the stand.
Okay. What you got for me?
Please state your name and occupation for the record.
Coco Palmo.
Defendant, quit your useless pouting and state your name and occupation.
Useless pouting?
Don't you dare yell at my friend, you pompous jerk!
Yeah!
Order in the court! Will the pony in the audience please refrain from screaming at the prosecution?
Can she scream more?
Now's not the time.
My name is Coco Pomel, and or I guess, was the assistant costume designer at Bridalway Theater.
Aww.
Now then, please testify about your current living arrangements in as much detail as you can manage.
Okay.
I see what he's doing here. I think I know what he's doing there. Miss Coco Pomel probably doesn't have the best living situation, and as she is the assistant costume manager, his costume designer thingy, and the overall concept was like the non-assistant, the main kind of thing. Killing him, Coco Pomel would become the main thing, get more money, and get a better living situation. Probably where this is going, from my guess.
Poor Coco. I hope this isn't going to be too much for her.
Friendship with overall. Aww.
Ever since I started living on my own, I've been staying at various hotels across Manhattan. I've never been that wealthy.
Yep.
So that was all I could manage until I met Overall. He took me under his wing as an apprentice, and even offered to let me live with him in his apartment. I brought as much joy to him as he did to me, it seems. I don't know what I'm going to do now that he's gone.
Oh, that breaks my heart, dude.
Oh, what a tragic story.
I feel it, man.
I think I might be tearing up.
Don't be fooled, Your Honor. This is merely her psychological manipulation at work.
Shut the freak up, man.
She may appear to be grieving on the outside, but on the inside, she's deviously dancing in delight.
Objection!
Alliteration,
Your
bro.
Honor, this is slander.
You're
Objection
yes.
sustained.
Sustained.
Prince Blueblood, I will not allow comments like that in my court.
Yeah, you tell him, Judge.
You commoners and your bleeding hearts.
Now, Mr.
I'm gonna
Wright,
bleed
I
you.
cross-examine the witness.
Coco didn't mention any of this to me yesterday. I wonder why not. No use thinking about it now. I just have to focus on how to get Coco out of this.
Don't. Friendship with overall.
Ever since I started living on my own, I've been staying at various hotels across Manhattan.
Hold it! You've never had a place to call your own.
No. Everything I've ever had I owed to those who were there to support me. Rarity, Overall, my parents, and even my old mentor.
Your old mentor.
Your old mentor. Is this the pony we're talking about yesterday? The one who always said it's every pony for themselves in the big city.
Yes, her.
Her.
I quit being her assistant several months ago and took up a job at the theater, thanks to Rarity.
Oh, yeah, it's that one pony. Yeah, I remember the one pony that stole the fabric. Yeah.
You don't sound too happy about that.
Oh no! Of course I'm grateful to Rarity for giving me such a huge opportunity!
Next to Lego.
But
Lego.
What?
Pete. There we go.
it doesn't change the fact that I needed her to do it for me. Just once in my life, I'd like to achieve something that had been delivered to me on a silver platter. Something that I at least played some sort of major role in.
I see. Then perhaps you...
Oh no. Oh no, I know what he's gonna do. Objection!
I grow weary of your stalling tactics, human. You are her attorney, not her therapist. You're here to cross-examine the defendant, so I suggest you get on with it.
Well, how do you know?
I wonder
her?
how much effort it takes him to be that unpleasant.
Probably not
Objection
much.
sustained. Please continue with the cross-examination.
Yeah,
Mr. Wright.
sustain. Let's go. I don't know what that means for objections.
I've never been that wealthy, So that was all I could manage until I met Overall.
Hold it!
Hold
Did
it
you
right
really
there.
have so little money that you could barely afford a place to live?
Yes, especially after I quit being an assistant to my mentor. She always made enough for both of us with the designs she sold.
What was that she was about to say? And what about when
My.
you became an assistant costume designer at Bridalway? Did you make more money then?
I feel like you
No,
would.
I
Really?
was only an assistant, and an apprentice at that. The director, playwright, didn't trust my skills enough to give me any work worth paying much for. If it
Wow.
wasn't for Overall, I'm sure I would have had to quit that job for a better paying one elsewhere.
See? That shows character. She stuck it out. She stayed with that crappy, no money for Overall. Now, if she literally was willing to keep a job that did not pay her much for one specific pony, why would she kill that one specific pony? To get out of her job? No, she could just quit at any time. That doesn't make sense. There's no way.
So, Overall was able to support you and himself?
Yes, he was paid handsomely as the head costume designer of the biggest theater in Equestria. Not only that, but his designs fetched pretty high prices outside the theater as well.
Was he really that well known?
Of course he was.
Oh, wow.
How did he get to be that famous?
Well, I can only tell you what I heard from him, but apparently, after his parents passed away a couple of years ago, he fell into a rather deep depression. They were his only family, and his only source of encouragement, you see. He thought about giving up on his dream to become a designer.
Oh,
However,
man.
he soon realized he'd be betraying his parents' hopes for him if he did, and so he poured himself into his work. He slaved day and night to create design after design, and
Wow.
finally, he decided to enter a contest, one that would essentially guarantee a successful career in design should he win. And he did. Afterwards, his designs became well known all across Equestria.
Let's go.
And he has since worked at Bridalway Theater as his head costume designer.
Let's go.
What a touching story.
Wow. Overall must have been one strong stallion to not only overcome his parents' deaths, but also achieve his lifelong dream.
He was. If only he hadn't passed away himself, then maybe he could have helped me.
Well, maybe if you didn't kill him, he could have done so.
No, pause the video. Oh my god. See again. Why would she kill Overall Concept if she thought he could have helped her? Literally everything is pointing to her being innocent. You guys are idiots.
You've no one to blame but yourself, defendant.
I'm about to defend you into the next
Let's continue
dimension.
with the testimony, shall we?
Don't worry, Coco. I'm gonna get you out of this.
Yes.
He took me under his wing as an apprentice, and even offered to let me live with him in his apartment.
Hold it! Coco, how come you didn't tell me about any of this yesterday?
What do you mean?
Yesterday in the detention center, when I asked you about your relationship with Overall Concept, this is what you said to me.
A little bit of a flashbacky.
It's nothing too serious, if that's what you're thinking. We were just good friends who liked working together.
See, if Overall Concept would have lived, I have no doubt in my mind they would have been dating. They would have been. They would have been getting it
I could
on.
decide on my own for another play.
At the time, I took that to mean you were nothing more than coworkers. Was I wrong when I made that assumption? Coco? Coco!
What?
Did you purposely mislead me into believing you two were connected by nothing more than your work?
Maybe.
Aww.
Why?
Crush, man.
Because I was afraid that you wouldn't take my case otherwise.
What? Well, why would you think that?
Yeah.
I don't like the sound of that. What in the world is Coco hiding from me?
I brought as much joy to him as he did to me, it seems. I don't know what I'm going to do now that he's gone.
That's what every pony keeps saying. That you two seem to get along so well. First Playwright, and
Yes.
then even Rarity said that you told her how happy overall made you feel in your letters to her.
Yeah, we were really great friends. The
Friends.
theater knew that.
And that's exactly why I'm so puzzled.
What do you mean?
You just said that you were afraid I wouldn't take your case if I knew the truth about your living arrangements prior to today. Coco, you must have known that I have heard nothing but positive comments about your relationship with the victim from those who knew you both. So why would you think I would hesitate if I knew you two were living together?
Dude, tell me. Tell me,
Oh,
dude.
come now, attorney. The answer is so
You're
I'm
obvious.
surprised it's taken you this long to realize it.
Am I just dumb?
If you know the
You're making
reason,
me
why
feel
not
dumb.
just say so already? Were you trying to establish some sort of motive with this testimony? Let's hear it then.
Yeah,
Very
Blue
well.
Blood.
I would like the court to take a look at this.
It's a piece of paper.
What is this, Prince Blueblood?
I
It's
eat
a
your piece of
document
paper.
that recognizes both Coco Pamel and overall concept as
Domestic partners.
The two entered into this partnership not long after they began living together.
Domestic
And
partners.
how is that relevant?
What does that mean?
My attorney. Are you not aware of one of the primary aspects of a domestic partnership?
Sorry. It's, not my area of expertise.
Yeah, fill us in.
And you call yourself a lawyer? What a joke. Very well, I shall explain. If a partner passes away intestate, that's without leaving behind a will for you uninformed commoners, when they are in a domestic partnership, as Mr. Concept did, their partner will receive all of their assets.
Oh. Oh, no!
Yes! Now you finally get it! That is why this poor, underpaid assistant costume designer murdered one of the most wealthy and well-known
Yeah,
designers
for
in
money,
Equestria.
but again, there's
His
many
assets
contradictions to
for herself.
that provide evidence that that is not the case. Dude, Mr. Wright is screaming his head off. Dang, bro.
Order! Order in the court! I must admit, that certainly sounds like an incredibly plausible motive for murder.
Of course it is, Your Honor, because it's the truth.
Come on, Phoenix. You know it, my man.
Why did you hide this from me? This... How am I supposed to recover from this?
Come on, dude. Come on, you got this. I got it. You got it. We got it.
This
We
moment
got
is
this together.
Almost too perfect.
It's almost too perfect.
I don't know. And it definitely didn't help that Coco kept this hidden from us all this time. I had no way to prepare for this.
Well, you have to say something. Fight back. Otherwise, Coco will be found guilty.
Objection! The
Objection.
defendant was being supported very well by the victim. She didn't need to steal his money.
True.
Objection! Did I ever say she was after his money specifically?
Oh. Oh.
What do you mean?
Recall what I said, attorney. She would inherit all of Overall Concept's assets.
I mean, he's not that hot.
Assets, attorney. Like, for example, all of his fabrics and designs. Of course, the money she would inherit would be a nice bonus, and no doubt added fuel to the fire. But what Coco Pamel was really after were the
Oh. Okay,
Why?
that's a better
Why would she need
motive.
those?
designs. During our investigation, we discovered that Miss Pamel had entered a fashion competition. The very same competition the victim himself entered a couple years ago.
No.
Just to clarify
See, but again, the way Coco Palmel acts and talks, it really like contradicts this motive. It is a very good motive, I'm not gonna lie. But still, it just doesn't seem plausible from how Coco Palmel's character has been portrayed. Also, we just straight up know that Coco Palmel didn't do it. Because, you know, this is the last
Exactly what
episode.
this contest is. It's a fashion competition where the winner receives the honor of being recognized by the most well-known designers in the industry. While not particularly large, it is very prestigious, needing several background checks to even enter. Winning this contest is a big boost to one's career, as you can imagine.
What is it, Twilight?
I don't know. Something about that strikes me as important.
Alright,
I just
Twilight.
can't put my hoof on it.
It goes without saying that a contest such as this would draw in several other keen fashion designers looking to rise to the top. With this much competition stacked against her, Miss Palmel was not confident enough in her abilities to win the contest.
And what brought you to that conclusion?
Yeah,
The defendant herself admitted as much. When we interrogated her about the contest, she told us that she did not feel confident about her chances of winning.
Then surely Overall would have helped Miss Palmel in making designs, or at least guided her.
yeah, he would've.
Possibly. However, it's against the rules to seek direct help from some pony who has already won the contest.
Oh.
It's a preventative measure against copying previous victors' work with minor alterations.
But she was learning from him. I'm sure Miss Palmel had the ability to do just fine in the contest.
Yeah.
Her actual level of competence is irrelevant. What matters is how she felt about her prospects of winning. Besides, I'm not finished, attorney.
Oh, I feel
There's a
finished.
special fabric the victim was making, as mentioned earlier by the previous witness. He was creating this fabric in secrecy for an upcoming play.
Probably
So
what
why
Mr.
is this
Playwright
special
and
fabric
overall were
important in
talking
this
about.
case?
You should have connected the dots by now. Considering that Miss Palmel and Mr. Concept lived together for a number of months, she naturally would know about this special fabric. And just like you said, Miss Palmel was learning from him, so this was to her advantage.
You're really accusing Miss Palmel of cheating in this contest?
Did she even
Cheating
enter?
in the contest and betraying Overall Concept's trust.
And that's why...
Looks like you finally realized.
But like, again, there was the episode where Coco Palmel knew about a pony cheating and stealing special fabric. She was completely against that. Bringing that up, why would she, steal special fabric and cheat just like that other pony? Again, just hire me as a defendant, man. I'm the new Phoenix Wright. Call me Mr. Wright. I'm Mr. Call me Mr. MLP Wright, because I'm always right, baby.
Realized it. That is exactly why the defendant murdered Overall Concept. It was her chance at stealing his designs and passing them off as her own.
Blah blah blah.
Twilight, if you have something to say, then by all means, say it!
On the night of the murder, the victim was working on that very fabric. This, too, we heard from Mr. Playwright. That was probably what set the defendant off. Upon seeing the fabric, she made up her mind, once and for all, to murder the victim. She attacked him in the dressing room, but failed to land a strike. The victim fled out of the room with a fabric roll in his mouth, likely taken for the purposes of self-defense.
The mouth. Looking at a glance, to see the face of Overall Concept, Playwright would have sold the mouth, therefore Playwright would have sold the freaking fabric roll. You're contradicting yourself, bro. He would have seen the fabric roll then. If he was carrying it in his mouth and knew that he was Overall Concept by his face, he would have saw the fabric roll. I'm Mr. LP right. I'm always freaking right. Let's go.
Pamel
There are no
hung his
flaws
trail.
in my logic.
The two
There
were
are no
spotted by
flaws.
Mr. Playwright as they made their way up the stairs to the catwalk.
The stairs.
Finally, as overall concept reached the top, he tripped, dropping the fabric roll. The defendant caught up to him, grabbed the roll, and proceeded to knock him unconscious. Afterwards,
Just
she wrapped
bopped
the
him on
rope
the
that was
head.
laying on the catwalk around the victim's neck and threw him over the edge of the rail, finally killing him.
Come on, you got this. Come on, there's contradictions here.
If it
Come on,
weren't
come
for
on.
Mr. Playwright immediately coming up the catwalk after the murder, she may have gotten away with it. But she can't hide from her crime now, can she, Mr. Wright? And to think, this incredibly selfless stallion was planning on proposing to Coco, and she
I was
stole
right.
his life away
I was
because
right.
of her own
I was right, they
selfish
were an item.
desires.
They would have been an item. I was right.
Propose?
Prince Blueblood? What do you mean?
During our inquiries regarding overall concept and Miss Pamel's relationship, many ponies employed at Bridalway Theater commented on how much he cared about her. Apparently, he often said that being together with her made him even happier than when his parents were still alive. That he was
Damn.
going to propose next week after another
Oh.
play.
Oh
He even ordered this
no.
custom ring to get her. I have it
Oh.
right here, Your Honor. The
That's so
police are
sad.
investigating his apartment.
Here's your ring. Ah.
He was going to
Oh no,
propose
Coco.
to me.
Coco, no.
This shows just how cruel you really are.
Oh, my
You
heart.
took advantage of an innocent
You're just gonna start
stallion
crying.
for your own selfish gains, and killed him in the process.
She's gonna start
Mayors
crying,
like you are
dude.
corrupting our good-natured society.
I hate you, Blueblood.
It's
Oh my god.
despicable. Don't you agree, ponies of the gallery?
How could she do something like that?
After everything that kind stallion did for her.
I never thought ponies could be so evil.
Oh no.
Order! Order in the court! My word! Could someone
The
who looks
adorableness.
so adorable really be so
Judge,
cruel?
you got that sucker for
Looks all very
adorableness.
deceiving. And what better example of that than this heartless, soulless excuse of a mare?
How dare you spew such poisonous lies?
Yes, Rarity.
Coco would never do that to a stallion who cared about her. Why, I ought to come over there and tear your cold little heart out for that.
Amen,
Whoever
Rarity.
that is out there, please refrain from shouting, or else you will be removed from the court!
She's gonna get
Rarity,
removed from the
I
court.
get that you don't like this guy, but I need you to keep quiet if I'm going to properly help Coco.
Well, defense, anything you want to say to counter my claims? Or
Come on,
decided that
Phoenix.
You suffered enough humiliation.
Come on. There's gotta be something I can say to this.
You
He's
can.
absolutely tarnished
There's
Coco's image to the
something.
rest of the court. Where am I even supposed to begin this uphill battle?
It seems as if the defense has no further objections. In that case, I think it's about time for me to pass my verdict. Any closing remarks, Prince Blueblood?
I warned you, human attorney. You should have saved yourself from putting on this pathetic display when you had the chance. Your Honor, please proceed.
No! I can't let it end like this!
Let's do a
Very
Fluttershy
well.
from the live
This
function about
court
Storm.
finds the defendant, Coco Pamel.
Objection!
Twilight.
Who was that?
Twilight? Twilight!
me, Your Honor.
Yeah!
Prosecutor Blueblood, I want you to clarify something for me.
Prince,
Blueblood, you said Coco saw the special fabric on the night of the murder, and that's what prompted her to go through with her plan to kill Overall.
excuse me? You are to address
Blueblood.
me as...
Is that what you're saying or not?
Ugh,
Get him,
that is
Twilight!
what I am claiming. What of it?
Can you please show us the fabric you're talking about?
Surely you must have seen it for yourselves. It was left sitting in the dressing room. But if you insist on seeing it again, I had it brought into court today. Here it is.
It's just
Happy?
purple.
Just as I had thought.
What is that supposed to mean?
I believe Mr. Wright can answer that for me.
Of course. Thanks, Twilight. What she means, Prince Blueblood, is that the fabric you presented to the court is not the special fabric that Overall made.
What? No, it has to be. Playwright confirmed it when we asked him. This fabric is what Overall was commissioned to make for the theater.
Then let me rephrase my response. True, that is indeed the special fabric Overall was working on for the theater that night. However, the fabric that you presented is currently incomplete!
Incomplete. Incomplete. Haha. Just like your brain. Blueblood.
Order! Prince Blueblood, what is the meaning of this? I find it hard to believe that the
You
defendant
laugh.
would have murdered the victim for a roll of incomplete fabric.
Then that's it. She must not have known it was incomplete.
Objection! How is that possible? She and the victim not only worked together, but they lived together. There's no way she wouldn't have known what the fabric was supposed to look like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Yep.
maybe she thought she could finish the fabric on her own.
Well, no.
Okay, let's test that theory then, shall we? Mr. Playwright,
Yes?
I recall you said something in your testimony earlier regarding the fabric Overall was working on that night.
He came on stage briefly to discuss something with me, and then he left right before the intermission ended. He said he and his assistant had to start working on coating a new sheet of fabric and paint.
If you don't mind me asking, what exactly was this paint?
Silver, gold,
paint.
fluorescent
The fabric
paint.
was
Yeah.
supposed to be covered in both that paint and a touch of glitter.
And glitter,
What
huh?
does that prove? Miss Pamela would have known that. You said so yourself.
It's not about whether or not she would have known about it, but whether or not she could gain access to it.
What do you mean? She was going to inherit all of Overall's assets. The fluorescent
Assets.
paint and glitter would have been included in that as well.
True. She would have inherited whatever Overall had left. What about after she ran out?
What?
This fabric was meant to be used in the next play at Bridalway Theater. Naturally, that means Coco would have had to make more if she intended on using it in the contest. And making more fabric means buying more paint.
And how is that an issue? She would have inherited all of Overall's money. Buying a few cans of paint would have been nothing.
It's true.
Not this paint, I'm afraid.
Explain yourself.
Yesterday, when we were investigating the theater, Rarity, one of the most fashion-forward ponies in a question,
Gotta include
had a
fashion
few
forward.
things to say about this fluorescent paint.
Fluorescent paint? Such a thing exists? Where can I get this paint? It might help with my business.
Ew.
I still wonder where he got this paint. It must have been awfully expensive, especially since he used so much of it.
Oh. What you gotta say about
If
that,
Rarity hadn't
Blueblood?
even heard of the paint, let alone considered it to be cheap, then I doubt this paint is anywhere near as accessible or affordable as regular paint. Even if Coco were able to find and buy some, do you really think she'd be able to do so before the contest deadline? Or spend that much of her newly earned money on a chance that the fabric would be good enough to win a contest? If she lost, she'd have a very hard time making that money back.
Objection!
What do you mean
If you look at the
objection?
fabric by itself, it's already relatively nice to look at, even without all the bells and whistles the victim added to it. She could have just entered the base fabric itself into the contest.
Yeah, but where's
Maybe
the fun
so.
in that?
But you can't deny that this evidence blows a hole in your theory that Coco killed Overall for this fabric.
Mr. Wright has a point, Prince Blueblood. The
Yeah.
motive you proposed isn't very persuasive given this new information.
I'm saying yeah a lot.
Do you have anything else against the defendant that proves she committed this crime?
Of course, Your Honor. I have yet to produce the most damaging piece of
Oh
evidence. to this
god.
court.
Is that
Bro, you're about to damage me.
So, we're finally going to see what he was talking about earlier.
Indeed, Your Honor. And I'll have Playwright explain what I mean.
Huh? Me?
Yes, you.
When you found Miss Pamela on the catwalk that night, did you notice anything odd about her?
Well, as I said earlier, she seemed rather dazed.
Unfocused.
And what
scared.
about her hooves? Did you notice anything in particular?
Well, they
about
were
them?
indeed hooves.
Oh, that's right!
What is it, witness?
Miss Pommel's forehooves. When I discovered her on top of the catwalk, they were covered in glitter.
Glitter. Glitter. Glitter.
The defendant's forehooves were covered in glitter? What does this mean?
Allow me to explain, Your Honor. Recall that Miss Pamel and Mr. Concept were working in the dressing room prior to the crime. During the course of their work, the defendant must have gotten her hooves covered in glitter.
Oh! So the glitter marks on the fabric roll?
Precisely, Your Honor. They were left behind by Miss Pamel when she used it to hit the victim.
No, this can't be.
And now the prosecution would like to submit our final piece of evidence. The noose.
The noose.
The noose itself?
The noose
The court
itself.
is no doubt aware of the fact that this is the noose used to hang the victim to death. Though I have yet to reveal a crucial detail concerning this noose. We have discovered that, just like the fabric roll, there are traces of glitter on it.
No.
Traces of glitter.
Considering
much
that
glitter.
There was only one conscious pony on the catwalk that could have committed the crime, the only logical inference is that Miss Pamel is the culprit. But knowing that she had glitter left on her hooves, and that there was glitter on both the fabric roll and the noose, it has become crystal clear that Miss Pamel was the one who knocked the victim out, wrapped the noose around his neck, and killed him.
Damn. Nyeg.
That seems to be very decisive evidence. The one who touched the rope was Miss Pamel herself.
Rope. Tied like a noose, the murder weapon with a glitter marks on it. Yeah.
Of course. There's no other way it could be any pony else. I presume a guilty verdict is in order, Your Honor?
Not just
Didn't
him.
seem that way.
Objection! But what about the motive? It's unlikely that Coco would have killed for a fabric that she had no reliable way of reproducing.
You're still obsessing over that?
I'm
Perhaps
obsessing
she
over
merely killed him for his
some
other designs,
things.
or maybe just his money. The defendant has a laundry list of potential motives, attorney. That fact doesn't disappear by virtue of you pointing out that the completed version of the fabric was not at the theater that night, you know. Besides, who can say for certain what was going through that demented pony's head that night? For all we know, the defendant may have a motive beyond our wildest imaginations. What matters, though, is that all of the
Your
evidence
imagination.
points to her as the one responsible for this crime. The glitter on her hooves, the fabric roll, the noose itself, and being found at the scene with no chance that any pony else had slipped away unnoticed. All of it points to one simple conclusion. Coco Pamel murdered Overall Concept in cold blood.
Bro, Blueblood, I don't like it when you just lift up your neck like that. That's scary.
Order! Order in the court! Mr. Wright,
Yes, Your Honor.
Prince Blueblood has presented a very convincing case, even if the motive is somewhat unclear at the moment. I'm afraid if you have nothing further to add, then I will have no choice but to end the trial. This is your last chance, Mr. Wright. Do you have anything else to present to this court to counter the prosecution's claims?
course he
Dude, emotions, bro.
If he did, he would have presented it a long time ago.
Emotions, bro. Come on.
This is it.
Remember
If you mess up
the,
here, the trial's
footprints?
over. I need to present something that casts significant doubt over Blueblood's claims.
Yes, you can do it,
I
man. I believe in
may
you.
have unintentionally
Yes.
given me just the hint I needed.
Yes.
Your
Feel the
Honor,
power.
I do indeed have something to present to the court at this time.
What? How could you possibly?
Now, Prince Blueblood. Save your surprise for after you've seen what it is Mr. Wright has to present. Mr. Wright, please present this piece of evidence to the court.
Yes, Your Honor. Take that!
Take
Is
that.
that a torn piece of fabric?
Really? That's it? That's your big piece of evidence?
You're a big
Perhaps
piece
not
of
in
evidence.
terms of its physical size, but certainly in the whole it'll create in your argument.
Cease your smug little remarks and explain, human.
Oh, be
You're
be
the
more
last
smug,
pony
please.
I want to hear that from, Blueblood. Very well. We found this ripped piece of fabric during our investigation of the stage. It was right below the center of the catwalk.
I fail to understand how this relates to anything discussed thus far.
Well, how about
Same,
you let the one
honestly.
who requested the fabric explain it to us then?
Huh? Me?
Playwright.
Playwright, you were the one who asked overall concept to make this fabric, correct?
Yes, we needed it for our next play.
For your next play, meaning none of the costumes for the play on the night of the murder used this fabric?
That is correct.
Where are you going with this, Mr. Wright?
It's going in the right
It's simple, Your Honor.
direction.
If the fabric wasn't being used on the night of the crime,
How is
why
it
did
ripped?
you find a piece of it on the stage afterwards?
True. True. Why is it ripped? Yeah.
Objection! That piece of fabric could have found its way there at any point. It's impossible for you to prove when exactly it wound up there.
Oh, except I can.
I may not be able to prove the exact time
Oh,
it
you
ended
can't.
up on
Oh,
stage,
never mind.
but I can definitely prove it was after the play's intermission.
How?
Recall Playwright's testimony for a moment. He had this to say about what was happening on stage during the 15-minute intermission.
Well, they had to completely clear the stage of all the props, as well as any debris that would cause problems for the actors on stage. Mainly tripping hazards.
Tripping hazards.
The
It had move
stagers
stuff.
had to clear the stage. No!
Yes.
If this piece of fabric
Yes,
had been
girl.
on stage before intermission, it would have been cleared off by the time the second act had begun. After all, there's no way Playwright would have allowed for anything less. Am I right, witness?
Yes, girl.
Absolutely. It's out of the question that I would have let the play continue if something like this was still on stage. I mean, it could have distracted the audience or ruined the concentration of one of the performers.
So you see, Prince Blueblood, there's no way this piece of fabric was on the stage before the intermission.
Objection!
What do you mean
Victor came on
objection?
stage during the intermission to talk to Playwright about the fabric. It's possible he could have accidentally dropped that piece on the stage then, and it simply went unnoticed because the stage had already been cleaned.
Objection!
Objection.
But that's also impossible.
Why's that?
Bro, I need a shirt and
Let's go
sunglasses
back
that
to
say
Playwright's
objection on
testimony
it.
one more time.
He came on stage briefly to discuss something with me, and then he left right before the intermission ended. He said he and his assistant had to start working on coating a new sheet of fabric and paint.
If you examine this fabric closely, you'll notice that it's covered in glitter. Not only
Glitter.
that, but if we were to turn off the lights in this courtroom, I'm sure you'll realize that it's also covered in fluorescent paint. However,
Paint.
according to Playwright, Overall didn't start covering his fabric in paint until after he had come on stage.
Then, what does this mean, Mr. Wright?
This piece of fabric proves two things. The first is that someone brought it up to the catwalk during the second act of the play.
The catwalk?
And what
Catwalk,
ridiculous
that's not
train
how
of
it's
logic are we
pronounced.
meant to board to arrive at that conclusion?
Well, there's simply no other way for it to have landed on the stage, right? No one could have brought it to the stage directly without being seen, so the only conceivable option must be that it came from above.
Fine. And what's the second thing that piece of fabric supposedly proves?
Isn't it obvious? It proves that at the theater that night, there existed at least one sheet of overall special fabric that had been completed.
That's absurd.
You're absurd.
But how is that possible? I thought the police only found one sheet of the fabric, and it was the incomplete version.
He's just got a
Which
secret
can
safe
only
just
mean
under
that
the
other sheet
floorboards.
was stolen from the theater that night. A third party must have escaped with it.
Objection! You are either desperate beyond belief or have gone completely insane, human attorney.
How so?
There's no way a third party could exist.
There definitely is a
Well
way.
then, why don't you explain what this means then? This piece of fabric clearly proves that the completed fabric was there at the theater that night. So why didn't the police find it?
Simple. The defendant had hidden it prior to the crime. She must have been planning to steal the one sheet of fabric all along. When Overall Concept saw that it was missing, that's when Coco attacked him. I suspect she hid it in a spot where none of us could even find it, which is why it is still missing even now.
That's impossible. The discovery of a piece of fabric on stage proves that it was out in the open somewhere. The stage was cleared in preparation for Act 2. The fabric must have
Exactly.
been taken either on or above the stage during the second act of the play. Otherwise, we wouldn't have this piece with us today. In fact, playwright, I need you to clarify something for me.
And what would that be?
After the crime occurred, was there someone watching the stage at all times?
Yes, there would always be some pony either on or watching the stage. The fabric would have been noticed if it was brought on stage at any given moment.
That settles it then. This indicates that the fabric had to have gone up the catwalk once the second act started, which means Coco couldn't have hidden the fabric beforehand. It must have gotten torn somehow, and a piece fell to the stage below.
Objection! You've forgotten that if some pony went up that catwalk with that fabric during the second act, they would have been spotted holding it by playwright or the stage hoops on the right wing of the stage. If that fabric glows in the dark, then it should have been almost impossible to miss. But none of the theater staff have said anything about seeing some pony carrying a glowing sheet of fabric up the catwalk.
He's right. Even if you take the stage hoops out of the picture, playwright
Oh God, I'm
would have
falling.
noticed if the victim had been carrying that fabric. Then I'll propose another theory.
Okay, wait.
Another theory?
I'm no longer falling.
Playwright said in his testimony he only got a small glimpse of Overall running up the stairs.
Correct. And what of it?
Well, what if there was some pony ahead of Overall?
Yeah.
Then playwright wouldn't
Yeah.
have been able to see them, meaning a third party could have been involved from the start.
That would explain why he was angry. He was And see, now we're cooking with gas.
Oh please, like that's even possible.
What do you mean?
If this third pony exists, then how did Miss Pamel not see them? If she was following Mr. Concept the entire time, there's no way the defendant would have missed this third pony
Not
escaping. At
necessarily.
the very least, she should have seen them on the catwalk. Yet has she mentioned such a thing? No. So, how do you explain that, attorney?
Actually, it's quite simple.
Simple? This should be good.
When I spoke to Miss Pamel, she told me that she had been suffering from memory loss and headaches. I believe it's possible that during the crime she was not
Yes!
unconscious
I
when
was
it
waiting
third
for
party.
this!
And the headaches and memory loss was the
I was
suspect
waiting
for
for
being
that.
knocked unconscious.
Bro, I've been waiting for that. I'm just like, bro, as soon as they mentioned the headache, I'm like, bro, she got unconscious. She got knocked unconscious. I knew it! Waiting for that. Let's go! Unpause,
Do you really
please.
expect me to believe the nonsense you're spouting? You do realize that you're speaking for the defendant, right? She's obviously lying to save her own friend.
Why'd she lie about
Even
having a
if she
headache?
were hit on the head hard enough to leave a bruise, what makes you think that this incident happened that night and not the day before? And what kind of weapon would this mystery third party have used to knock her out? I demand you show evidence that she was struck on the head the night of the murder.
Gladly. Here it is. Take that!
The fabric roll?
The
And how
splinters.
does this prove anything?
Before the trial started, we noticed that there was some glitter stuck in her mane. I believe this is the result of being struck by...
It wasn't 1 hour and 15 minutes and 32 seconds. But you gotta admit, wasn't that far off. Wasn't that far off.
the fabric roll.
How in Equestria would that result in glitter getting stuck in her mane? Splinters and wood chips, maybe, but certainly not glitter.
Well, as you pointed out, there are traces of glitter on the roll. What if some of it ended up in Coco's mane as a result of getting hit with it?
Preposterous! The glitter on that roll came from when the defendant held it in her hooves to attack the victim.
Can you prove that that's the exact scenario that caused the glitter to end up on the roll?
Well, no, but how else could it have gotten there?
Let's stop and think about where this roll came from. The dressing room. I think it's very likely that the roll could have gotten covered in glitter there.
What do you mean, Mr. Wright?
Here's what I think. Coco and Overall were working in the dressing room prior to the crime. During the course of their work...
I'm gonna call it now. I think Blueblood killed her. Or killed him. Killed her? What do you mean kill? Killed him. I don't know why. But, I don't know. I just get that feeling. Playwright seems to be too obvious, but he is suspicious for not knowing how to pronounce Miss Pomel's name. I'm still waiting for that to appear again. But yeah, I think it's Blueblood.
They must have scattered glitter around the table, where this roll may have been sitting. In fact, yesterday while I investigated the dressing room, I found a can of glitter that clearly showed signs of spillage, sitting right next to the other roll of fabric. After this third party stole the sheet of fabric, they were spotted and ran off. Overall must have grabbed the nearby fabric roll as he gave chase, likely hoping to use it to stop the thief. However, once he reached the top of the catwalk, he tripped and dropped the roll. The thief took advantage of this and used the roll to knock out both Overall and Coco, who had followed her teacher up the catwalk in pursuit of the thief.
That sounds absolutely ludicrous.
Can you deny the possibility?
Ludicrous.
With ease. First off, even if this third party managed to make it all the way up to the catwalk without being spotted by Playwright, how would they have managed to get down without being seen by the stage hooves in the left wing? Not to mention, if the fabric roll left glitter in Coco's mane...
Smoke bomb. Magic. Trixie Lola Moon.
Then why didn't it also leave glitter in Overall's mane when he was knocked unconscious?
Well, you see,
You see, Mr. Wright? Your theory makes absolutely no sense. It's inconceivable that
What's the fun in making sense?
Because there's no way they could have escaped without being spotted by Playwright or the stage hooves.
He's right. How am I supposed to prove that the third party was able to get away when the left side of the stage was being watched? And I don't even know where to begin with Overall's mane.
Excuse me, if I may interject.
Playwright. My guy.
Is there something on your mind?
You're not my guy.
Yes, I'd like to make a confession, Your Honor.
You killed him. No, I'm kidding.
Confession?
I'd like to amend my statement regarding when I went up to the catwalk. I actually didn't go up immediately.
What?
Huh?
Witness? What are you doing?
What do you mean didn't go up
Please,
immediately?
explain what you mean.
Yeah.
It's as I say, Your Honor. I did not go up to the catwalk immediately after seeing the hanging. Before I went up to investigate, I called over my stage hooves from the right wing and my actors from the stage. I ordered them to attend to the panicking audience and try to calm them down. And I asked my stage manager to inform the police of what happened. After a good 5 minutes of giving my staff
5 minutes?
that was when I decided to go up to the catwalk.
5 minutes? Bro, again, your logic makes no sense. Why would you think Miss Pomel would be... Oh my god. If Miss Pomel killed Overall Concept, why would she still be on the catwalk 5 minutes after she killed him? Your logic is so wank, bro. Your logic is actually non-existent. Oh my god, dude. Why? Why are you so stupid? Playwright, dude. Come on. Oh my god, something's going to get smacked. And frankly, Playwright, if you were sitting right next to me in real life, you would be the one who would be smacked.
The catwalk.
Witness! Why didn't you share this time discrepancy earlier? This is crucial information!
It's not as if I intentionally wanted to withhold this information. Prince Blueblood told me not to share it because
cheater.
he said it was irrelevant information.
Why? You?
Yeah, Blueblood.
Prince
Yeah.
Blueblood! You knew about this information?
Yeah, you killed it, buddy.
I did, Your Honor. But I did not believe it to be important enough to address.
Why?
Right. You withheld this information because you knew it was detrimental to your case.
Yeah.
To think I actually blamed Miss Pommel for this heinous
Yeah,
crime.
yeah.
But now it's possible that she's innocent, isn't it? I'll make sure to tell everything that I know from this point on. I promise.
As much as I would have appreciated it if you did that from the beginning, I am glad that you are willing to tell us everything this time.
Many thanks, Your Honor.
Oh, okay, that's sweet.
Witness, you ruined my perfect case.
Perfect. It was never
Hearing what
perfect
could
to
be the
begin
truth,
with.
This is nowhere near perfection, and I should know. I've been striving for it all my life, only to come up short every time. But at least I can acknowledge that I can get as close to it as possible.
This information could be just what I need to move forward. Your Honor, we now know that there was no one near the left side of the catwalk after the murder, and that there was a 5-minute gap between the hanging and Playwright going up the catwalk. The possibility of a third party being involved is undeniable.
Bam!
Yes, I do believe this to be the case as well, Mr. Wright.
Objection!
How are
No,
you
there's still a
objecting?
flaw in that claim.
Oh, yeah, sure.
What
yes.
flaw?
Give it to me, give it to me.
I'll have you know, the
Yeah.
police interrogated every member of the theater
And
all
so?
5,000 attendees in the audience. If this pony really escaped with the fabric, then why was their absence not discovered during the course of the investigation?
Well, the thief in question must have been someone who was not a part of the audience or the theater staff.
Oh, really? And how did they get in?
We're here.
Vents?
Take that!
Through where?
Back door?
Precisely, Your Honor. They must have come through the back door of the theater without purchasing a ticket. I'm willing to bet that's also how they left the theater after they stole the fabric.
Stop suggesting that this third party exists. I demand proof, filthy human.
Didn't he already
Give me
provide
something that
proof?
truly convinces me that some pony else was here that night.
You should be careful what you wish for, Prince Blueblood.
Please,
Don't I
just
know?
show us the evidence already, Mr. Wright. My beard is
Beard.
quivering in anticipation.
Here's the
Dude.
proof, Your Honor. Take that!
Take that.
Picture?
There's
Of
the.
what?
There it is. There's
Take a
the.
closer look.
There's
You'll
the
find
hoof
out.
prints.
What's this? Are those glowing hoof prints?
No duh.
Excuse me?
No dur.
Order! Order! What a turn of events! Glowing hoof prints left behind at the crime scene?
It's not just the fact they exist, it's their path that tells a bigger story.
Please explain, Mr. Wright.
The hoof prints start at the dressing room, right where we're proposing that this chase started. The hoof prints then lead up to the catwalk, just like how Playwright described in his eyewitness account of the chase. And
Yeah.
finally, they lead down from the right side of the catwalk and out the back door of the theater. This path was not taken by anyone else involved in this crime. The existence of these hoof marks without a doubt proves that a third pony was there that night.
Dude, let's go.
Objection! What kind of preposterous game are you trying to play, human? The police did not find any hoof prints of the sort during their investigation. This has to be false evidence. The court cannot
Did you turn
accept
the
this.
lights off? Flicker the light switch.
Order! Order in the court, I say! Prince Blueblood! That is an extraordinary accusation! I've known Mr. Wright for years, and I had the misfortune of mistaking him for a crook once before. And thankfully, I was proven
the
wrong.
judge.
You're
Yeah.
going to need some serious evidence to back up your claim if you continue with this assertion. Otherwise, I will hold you in contempt of court.
My man, the judge, man. Eek!
Your Honor!
Whoa, that was out of nowhere. The judge really just stood up for me against the prosecution. I'm actually quite flattered.
Same.
You see, it's just that the police didn't see these hoof prints during their investigation.
I believe the explanation for that is quite simple. Did the police ever turn off the lights during their investigation?
Of course not. Why would they? Ah!
And there you have it. The reason why the police couldn't see the hoof prints is because the only way to see them is by turning off the lights.
Damn straight.
In that case, shouldn't the witness have been able to see them when he went up to the catwalk?
Well, why don't we ask him? Playwright, were these hoof prints on the catwalk prior to the second act?
No, there were no hoof prints to be found before the second act. The catwalk was dark during preparation, so they would have been impossible to miss.
And
Dude,
what
we're
about
so
when
smart.
You went up there after the murder? Did you see them then?
No, I did not.
Then the answer is obvious. The hoof prints were made after the incident, meaning that these glowing hoof prints have no relevance to this case.
Actually, I think they do.
Yeah.
What?
Playwright.
Care to
yeah,
explain, witness?
okay, yeah, explain
Yes,
it, bro.
it's true
Yeah.
that I didn't see the fluorescent hoof prints after the murder, but there was a good reason why.
And what would that be?
The safety lights were on.
Safety lights.
What's hanging above the catwalk? They seemed to be on the fritz yesterday. That's how we found those hoof prints in the first place.
Wait a minute. Did you see that?
See what?
There's something glowing on the floor. Twilight, could you turn off the lights for a second?
Yeah, okay.
There!
They're hoof prints, and they're glowing.
Yeah.
Impossible.
Impossible!
Right! Yes, we've been meaning to fix that issue, but I'm always getting so caught up in the plays we're performing that I guess I tend to forget about those sort of things. The pulley system isn't in the greatest condition either, which is why we've had to tie the rope to the catwalk instead.
Not exactly the pinnacle of safety, those lights. Especially not with a director like this around.
They're usually off during performances as well as during the second act. But when I went up after what had befallen, they were switched on, which means the hoof prints wouldn't have shown up.
But what about
Fiddly
the rest
bam.
of the backstage area? Even if you somehow explained why you weren't able to see the glowing hoof prints on the catwalk, why weren't the rest of the hoof prints discovered? If it was dark there, they should have been seen.
That'd be because I turned the backstage lights on as well.
Gotta keep those lights on, man.
These hoof prints could very well be connected to this case.
Then it is clear that these hoof prints belong to Miss Pamel.
How
What
so?
makes you think they belong to her?
She must have gotten her hooves wet with paint from working in the dressing room and chased the victim while her hooves were still wet. He likely turned on the safety lights when he fled so he could see where he was going.
But the prints go down from the right side of the catwalk, and Playwright found Coco standing right above where Overall was hanged. Are you suggesting that she descended from the catwalk and then climbed back up?
She
Yeah.
certainly had time to do so. After all, Playwright didn't immediately go up to the catwalk, now did he?
Yeah,
Damn
but
it.
why would
Now he's using my own argument against me. Do you have proof that these prints even belong to Coco?
Yeah, show me proof,
Process
buddy.
of elimination,
Not buddy.
attorney. It couldn't have been any pony else. It certainly
Could have been
wasn't the
you.
victim. Otherwise, the trail would have stopped at the catwalk. Not to mention the fact that his hooves don't have any paint on them. And this third party you claim was there would have had no way to get their hooves dirty with the paint. So it could only be Miss Pamel.
And what if there existed a way to prove that those prints could be hers?
I beg your pardon?
I certainly would like to see that, Mr. Wright. Tell me, how do you plan on proving that Miss Pamel couldn't have made those prints?
With this, Your Honor.
Heh. How evil would I be to end this video right here? Well, let's find out.